In the grand tapestry of life, patterns repeat in the most astonishing ways. We often see our human world as separate from nature, governed by rules of our own making. Yet if we look closely, the same fundamental principles that shape a forest or a coral reef also shape our own communities. A human society, in many respects, behaves like a single, complex organism. It has a structure, systems for communication, and methods for gathering resources. It grows, it changes, and it responds to its environment. Just as an animal is made of countless individual cells working in concert, a society is composed of individuals, each playing a vital role in the survival and flourishing of the whole. This perspective allows us to see our collective existence not as chaos, but as part of a much older, deeper biological story. Consider a single organism, a magnificent whale navigating the vast ocean. It is a unified being, yet it is comprised of trillions of cells. Each cell has a specific task. Some form the heart, others the eyes, others the powerful tail. In a similar fashion, a city is made of people with different skills. There are farmers who provide food, builders who create shelter, and teachers who pass on knowledge. The health of the entire city, the organism, depends on these individual parts working together. The flow of goods and information acts as the city's bloodstream, nourishing every part and ensuring its continued function. When we view our societies through this lens, we begin to understand the intricate connections that bind us together, mirroring the very architecture of life. The comparison goes even deeper. Organisms face challenges. They must find food, avoid predators, and adapt to a changing climate. Societies, too, face their own struggles. They contend with economic shifts, resource scarcity, and ideological conflicts. The methods of survival are remarkably similar. An organism might evolve a thicker coat of fur in response to a colder world. A society might develop new technologies or social structures to overcome its own distinct pressures. This constant process of response and adaptation is what defines a living system. It is a dynamic dance between the collective and its environment, a continuous effort to maintain balance and secure a future for the next generation. Therefore, when we witness great changes within our societies, perhaps we should not always see them as a failure or a collapse. Instead, we might be observing a natural, biological process at work. Just as living things have an innate drive to survive and propagate, so too do our cultures and communities. They are not static monuments, but living, breathing entities. Understanding this connection to the natural world gives us a powerful new way to interpret our own history and our future. It reminds us that even in moments of apparent turmoil, underlying patterns of life are unfolding, often leading to resilience and renewal in ways we might not expect. At the very heart of existence is a simple yet profound process: division. For life to continue, to grow from a single fertilized egg into a fully formed creature, cells must divide. This process, known as mitosis, is a marvel of precision and purpose. One cell becomes two, two become four, and so on, in an exponential explosion of creation. This is not an act of breaking or destruction. It is the fundamental mechanism of growth. Without cell division, an acorn could never become a mighty oak, and a human infant could never grow into an adult. It is the engine of development, allowing for specialization and the formation of complex tissues and organs, each perfectly suited for its function. Think of a sapling pushing its way out of the soil. It starts as a tiny, vulnerable shoot. Through constant cell division, it builds its stem, unfurls its leaves, and pushes its roots deeper into the earth. Each new cell contributes to the strength and complexity of the whole plant. This division allows for differentiation. Some cells become part of the leaf, designed to capture sunlight. Others become part of the root system, tasked with absorbing water and nutrients. This specialization is what allows the organism to perform many different functions simultaneously. Division, therefore, is not just about making more. It is about making better, creating a more capable and resilient being. This process also holds the key to healing and regeneration. When an organism is injured, cell division goes into overdrive. New cells are rapidly created to replace those that were damaged, slowly knitting the wound back together. A starfish can regrow a lost arm, and our own skin constantly replenishes itself, all thanks to this incredible ability of cells to duplicate. Division is nature's way of ensuring continuity and resilience in the face of adversity. It is a statement that life is persistent, always finding a way to repair, rebuild, and carry on. It is a fundamental strategy for survival, written into the genetic code of nearly every living thing on our planet. So, when we consider division, we must look past the simple idea of something being split apart. In the biological world, division is synonymous with life itself. It is the force that fuels growth from the microscopic to the magnificent. It is the mechanism that allows for complexity, specialization, and the intricate beauty of the living world. It is a process of multiplication and renewal, not subtraction and loss. Understanding this basic principle of nature is the first step towards seeing the echoes of this same creative force at work within the structures of our own human societies. Human societies, much like living organisms, also undergo processes of division. This can happen for many reasons: a difference in beliefs, a search for new resources, or simply the pressure of a growing population. A large group may find that its needs are no longer being met by a single centralized structure. At this point, a split can occur. A portion of the community may decide to leave and establish a new settlement elsewhere. This act, which might seem like a fracture from one perspective, is, from another, the creation of something new. It is a form of social mitosis, where one community gives rise to two, each with the potential to grow and thrive independently. This is not a modern phenomenon. It is a story as old as humanity itself. Early human tribes, as they grew, would often split. A group would venture out to explore new valleys and plains, carrying with them the culture, language, and knowledge of their parent group, but also free to adapt them to a new environment. This expansion is how humanity spread across the globe, from the savannas of Africa to every continent on Earth. Each new settlement was a new experiment in living, a new chance to test ideas and develop unique traditions. This division was not a sign of failure, but the very engine of our species' incredible success and expansion. Consider the colonization of new lands throughout history. While often fraught with conflict, the underlying pattern is one of division and expansion. A group of people leaves a crowded or restrictive homeland in search of new opportunities. The Pilgrims who sailed to North America, for instance, sought to create a society based on their own religious principles, separate from the one they had left behind. They founded a new community that, while initially small and fragile, eventually grew into something vast and influential. This new society developed its own unique identity, laws, and culture, distinct from its European origins. The original society was not destroyed. Rather, it had, in essence, reproduced. This process allows for an explosion of diversity and innovation. When a new society forms, it is no longer bound by the old ways of doing things. It becomes a laboratory for social experimentation. New forms of governance can be tried, new economic models can be tested, and new cultural expressions can flourish. The parent society continues on its own path, while the new society forges another. Over time, this branching process creates a rich and varied tapestry of human cultures, each a unique solution to the challenge of living together. Division, in this sense, is a powerful force for adaptation and creativity on a global scale. By viewing social division through a biological lens, we can begin to see it not as an end, but as a transition. It is a natural part of the life cycle of a large, complex system. When we see a protest movement emerge, or a subculture form, or even a political entity vote for independence, our first instinct might be to see it as a sign of decay or failure. But what if we are simply witnessing a society attempting to adapt and grow? These divisions are often born from a need for change, a sign that the existing structure is no longer serving all of its parts effectively. It is a signal that new ideas and new ways of living are trying to emerge. This perspective does not ignore the hardship and conflict that can accompany such splits. The process of division, whether in a cell or a society, can be turbulent. Yet, it is often a necessary turbulence that leads to long-term stability and resilience. A society that can divide and reform is more adaptable than one that is rigid and unyielding. The split allows pent-up pressures to be released, and it creates space for different groups to pursue their own vision of a better future. The outcome is often two or more communities that are, in their own ways, stronger and more coherent than the strained, singular entity they were before. The United States and the United Kingdom, for example, now exist as distinct, powerful allies, a reality born from a divisive split centuries ago. Embracing this view can foster a more patient and optimistic understanding of social change. It encourages us to look for the opportunities that arise from division, the potential for innovation, the birth of new cultures, and the exploration of different ways of life. It shifts the focus from what is being lost to what is being created. A forest is healthier with a diversity of trees, each occupying its own niche. Similarly, a world with a diversity of societies, each with its unique strengths and perspectives, is more vibrant and resilient. This diversity is the direct result of countless acts of division and differentiation over millennia. Ultimately, nature teaches us that rigidity leads to brittleness, while the ability to change, adapt, and even divide is a hallmark of strength. Our societies are no different. They are living, evolving systems, subject to the same fundamental laws of growth and adaptation that govern all life on Earth. By understanding division as a natural and often beneficial mechanism for expansion and renewal, we can navigate the inevitable changes in our world with less fear and more wisdom. We can see the fractures not as the end of the story, but as the difficult, necessary, and often beautiful beginning of a new chapter.